Good morning, everyone. First of all, I just want to honor the presence of God. I'm a royal daughter of God, so everywhere I go, I sort of just honor His grace over my life. And this morning, I want to honor the conveners of this conference, the I Am Osigwe. Thank you so much for putting this together. And please celebrate with me my precious husband, the wings beneath my wings, who allows me to be the best version of myself. And also appreciate beautiful women sharing the same platform with me this morning to celebrate you. And if you're a woman here, just celebrate yourself. Okay, the first thing I actually want to do is, I get a sense that there might be some people here who have been touched by the stigma of infertility. You've been touched by the shame of being childless. If you are here, I just want you to stand. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I was childless for 8 years. So if you are here, just please stand. If you've actually felt that scourge, that stigma, if anybody has shamed you, made you feel like something is wrong with you, if you just stand. Nobody? Okay. So I'm going to talk on when conception is a challenge. I'm basically just talking on my own Ardous journey from infertility to motherhood. But first I'm going to give a background of what childlessness is. Now, infertility is the inability to get pregnant after trying for a year. And sometimes you have gynecologists who decide to treat women who are older than 35 after 6 months of actively trying to have a baby. And I'll just give you a few fast facts. Infertility is a disease. The same way somebody is diagnosed with high blood pressure or diabetes. So it's a disease. It requires a diagnosis and it requires a treatment. Now, some people get off relating to people with infertility like they're being punished by God. And that's not the kind of concept that people should take. When you look at somebody who is unable to have a child, it's a disease just like somebody has diabetes. Not being able to have a child, it's a disease that requires treatment. And it affects about 1 in 8 couples. So you see that, by the time you look around, you see how many we are, and you just have an idea of the ratios of people that are actually affected by infertility. And a woman's fertility tends to decline as she grows older. For the men, they are able to have children infinitely, but for women, as they get older, there's an inability to conceive. Now, there are various treatment options. The drugs, IUI, IVF, adoption, surrogacy, and it all just depends on where people are at, what the diagnosis is, that is the specific thing that is wrong, the problem, so that will determine what the treatment option should be. Now, in dealing with infertility, there are a few things that we should know. I'm glad that we're having something that talks on work, on woman, and on marriage, and I'm looking at the marriage aspect now because a lot of families are actually being affected by the scourge of infertility. I know that marriages are breaking down because couples are unable to have children. Now, I'm just blessed to have a husband who stood by me through almost 8 years of childlessness and supported me. And supported me in the best way that he knew to. But unfortunately, this is not the story of most women. There are women who are abandoned. Husbands take other wives, and so all sorts of horrible things that we hear of. And the whole idea to this is to know that, let people know that there is hope. It's not a totally hopeless situation, and there are ways that you can deal with the situation, first as a couple, and then as you, family and friends, to people that are suffering infertility. You have a role to play in supporting them in dealing with this scourge. So one of the key things that I think is necessary is resilience. You have to have staying power. It's not a very easy journey. It will drain you emotionally, it will drain you financially, it will drain you physically. And then there are times when you don't even have the energy to go on. There were days when I just felt like I couldn't take anymore, from one surgical procedure to the other. We're blessed to have a beautiful son now, but I had to undergo 7 surgical procedures before that. So there are days when you just feel like, I can't take anymore, I can't do this anymore. And you need to know that, yes, those days will come. There will be good days and bad days, as with everything else. But you need to know that the key thing is you need staying power. And lots of us find this in our religion, in faith, and in our connections, our family, our friends, and those that we surround ourselves with. Now, to successfully navigate through the long and arduous journey of infertility, couples must be open to new ideas and information. Now, I understand that there are people whose faith is affected by the treatment options that are available, but there are different kinds of treatment. such that you don't need to go against your religion, you don't need to go against your faith. And for family members and friends who come to suggest things, don't suggest to somebody whose religion does not allow for them to do something like IVF. You don't come out and say, go and try IVF to that kind of person, because we know that we are free, we've been set free to free others. Now, because your freedom allows for you to be able to do something like IVF, does not necessarily mean that somebody else has that grace to be able to, because of their religious affiliation. So don't push those sort of things upon people. Now, the other thing you need to do is to allow yourself consider these options and know what you're open to, and to have a conversation with your spouse. To what extent do we want to go with treatment? At what point are we going to stop? When do we say, okay, you know what, we've had enough, we're just going to stop all treatment? These are things, conversations that should come up, because it's draining. You find that, in our case, we moved back from the UK and we just started spending money, one hospital back and forth and everything. And in that almost 8-year period, we had friends and family members buying houses, buying cars. We're just paying medical bills. 1.2 million naira today, 800,000, tomorrow. And then there was a scenario where they had to fly in a gynecologist from the UK, 3,500 pounds. We had to pay for him to stay in a hotel and all of those things. So there are all sorts of implications. So you need to be able to say to yourself, this far and no more. This is as far as we're going to go, and then we stop, so that it doesn't put an unnecessary strain on the relationship. And then you also need to know, for a lot of us, we have a preconceived knowledge of what our paths will be, how we're going to have children. But then you find that it doesn't really happen like that. So when I got married, the idea was, okay, for the first 2 years we'll just be all lovey-dovey, and then after 2 years we're going to have children. And then I found that 2 years became 3, 3 became 4, and ultimately we had to, go in and get some assistance. And so I'm just going to pause here and just share my own experience, how the journey has been, how the work has been, with the hope that I can encourage one woman here. I can encourage somebody who knows somebody that is facing this difficulty, and you can empower yourself to be able to help them, to support them to live through it. Now, my challenge started even before I got married. I had my first major surgery 3 months before to get married. And when the diagnosis was made, said, oh, you have uterine fibroids. I thought, okay, I'm a medical doctor, my husband is a medical doctor. And I thought, okay, fibroids, take out the fibroids and all. But behind my mind, I know that it's one of the things that leads to infertility. And there is this young man with his whole life ahead of him, and I was thinking to myself, this is the time to split. If you want to go now, go, because you know what this journey is going to be. So I had surgery, and 3 months after, he says, well, I want to marry you now. And I'm like, are you crazy? You know that there's going to be challenges with having children. And he was like, that's why I want to marry you now. We had talked about getting married, but it was not supposed to be even at the time that he came forward to say, okay, we needed to get married. Because being a doctor, you realize that once you started treatment for things like that, you've had fibroids taken out, the whole idea is to try to start to achieve a pregnancy almost immediately, because those things have a tendency to grow back. And then we got married, and I thought to myself, I didn't want to rush into having children. I was young, and I had a career ahead of me that I wanted to pursue. So we moved up to the UK, to study, and I just felt, I really didn't think anything of it until we came back to Nigeria, and it was like, okay, things weren't happening. And then I started to have symptoms again. Then I got a diagnosis again, the fibroids had recurred. And at this point, he was like, you know what, this is the 3rd surgical procedure. I don't want you to have an open surgery. And so they had to fly in a gynecologist to come and do a minimally invasive procedure, which involved just a little cut beneath my belly button. In the middle of everything, with all the money that was paid, he found out that he couldn't proceed with the surgery, so they had to terminate the procedure. And then he said to us, you're never going to be able to have children by yourself. Now that's the worst thing you can say to anybody, And so when we heard that, there was a bit of me that just thought, oh me, But then I realized that when man comes to the end of himself, then it's a God job. And so at that point, I just realized man can't help me, so I need to focus all my attention on the one who can help me, And so we started this journey, and then the gynecologist in the hospital we're using wanted for us to start to plan IVF. And I wasn't very comfortable with a few things in the hospital, And then one day, we sat across from the doctor, and he said, oh, this is what I want for you to do. I told my husband we needed to find somewhere else. We got another hospital. In total, I had 7 surgical procedures. The last surgery I had before I finally had my son was built to take 40 minutes. I was on the operation table for almost 8 hours. And then when the doctor was through, my blood level had dropped to 5 milligrams per dl, and that's the kind of blood levels that sicklers have. So they were expecting for my heart to be compromised and for me to start having symptoms of heart failure. But somehow I didn't have all of those things. And then they come, okay, we need to try IVF. Okay, so we talked about it and we went ahead. The first IVF I did almost took my life. Rather than get pregnant, I developed a life-threatening complication. And as such, well, wherever I was in the world, there was no treatment. It's one of those things where you just treat the symptoms and just hope for the best outcome. But somehow we pulled through. Second IVF, thankfully we got pregnant. And somewhere early in the second trimester, we discovered that my son's twin wasn't growing properly. And then the scan to find out what was going on said there was an ectopic pregnancy. So I had a baby in my uterus and I had a baby growing into my fallopian tubes. And so the doctors are saying, okay, let's just wait it out, see whether there's going to be a spontaneous abortion or whether we need to actually come in and do an evacuation. But thankfully, there's some things that you just know that this is the hand of God. And by the time I was getting the first anomaly scan, the consultant said to me, something is wrong. Your case file says you have 2 babies. There's no evidence of a second baby. So this is me all excited. I said, did you not hear me? I said, yes. In medicine, there's something called vanishing twin syndrome. So I had miscarried the second baby, and my body and the other baby's body had absorbed the product. So I didn't need to have evacuation. So I still had 1 baby. Now, in going through this experience, my husband and I decided, one, that it was just going to be our experience, and then with God. Because I found that people actually offer you unsolicited advice, and that's usually what puts pressure on the couple. And that's the place where people start to suggest things to you, as far as come to some spiritual, somebody that can do something, and when people don't have a mind of their own and they're open to receiving advice from different sources, it becomes a problem. And ultimately the marriage can crash just based on, that. So I'm going to leave us with a few things that I call infertility etiquette. And this is basically how you treat somebody or the way that you respond to people who are having these challenges in marriage. The first thing, don't offer unsolicited advice. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you are their parent, whether you are their friend, whether you are their sibling. If they have not asked your advice, please don't offer it. You put them in a very difficult position. They're not able to make up their mind about things because already they're vulnerable. And then a lot of people just follow sheepishly and they run into problems. The next thing, don't tell a woman or a couple that is dealing with infertility to relax. It's a medical problem. It requires a diagnosis. So don't say, oh, relax, it's going to happen for you. They want to know because they think something is wrong with them. And so they need to get a diagnosis and have a treatment plan that is going on. And also don't minimize the problem. Infertile couples are surrounded by families and children. So people used to forget to, I don't know whether they forget or they thought they were doing us a favor, but they wouldn't invite us when their children were having parties because we didn't have children. Mother's Day, people didn't used to say Happy Mother's Day to me. I wonder why, and not to my husband. Don't minimize the fact that this thing is going on in their life. It's thoughtful for us to be able to say, oh, we remember you at such a time. They're feeling sorry for me, thinking if they invite me to their child's party, I'm going to be feeling that. But it doesn't work that way. They need to know that you love them. Yes, let them know that you're thinking about them, but don't minimize the problem. And don't say that there are worse things that can happen. For a woman who is trying to have a child, infertility might be the worst thing to happen to her. You say, oh, it could have been cancer. But for her, not being able to have a child might be the worst thing. Especially our life's goal is to be a mom. And then don't say maybe they aren't meant to be parents. Some of us now say, oh, maybe God doesn't want you to be parents. I don't think that is God. He created the world, be fruitful and multiply. It was a mandate to everybody. And we all have that desire. Unless they don't want to have children, you don't say to somebody, oh, maybe you're not destined to have children. And don't be cruel. Don't make jokes about donating sperm, jokes about, oh, how was your sperm collection? How did because these are some of the insensitive things that people do. And it just makes people more difficult to walk this journey. Now, if you're pregnant and you know somebody who is trying to have a baby, please don't complain about your pregnancy beside them. Don't come and say, oh, this morning sickness is going to, oh, is this and that. They will die to have morning sickness and have a baby. So you who are pregnant and you're vomiting and you're being sick, don't rub it in their faces. For them, they're like, God, I will have this, just give me the baby, And don't treat them like they are ignorant. Don't say things like, go and serve in children's ministry in church. People said some of those things to me. Oh, go and work in the children's church. Go and look after other people's children. When you take care of other people's children, God will give you your own. That's not God. God does not. Did God require for you who have a child to go and raise somebody else's child first before giving you your own? No. Thank you. And please don't gossip about your friend's conditions. It's not okay for you to go and say to the next person, oh, Oluwatoyin Bode, they are not able to have children. Maybe it's something that she had done when she was young. She must have had like 100 abortions. People say things like that, very insensitive, and it usually gets back to the people involved. So we need to be very careful what we say and how we say it, especially if we have not even had the opportunity to know what their situation is. They've not spoken to you about it. You are casting aspersions, you're just making assumptions, and you're spreading things that are not true. And don't push adoption yet. You know, the couple will need to work through many issues before they are ready to make a decision to adopt. First, they must actually grieve the loss of that baby they are never going to be able to have. Everybody dreams of having a baby. Oh, the nose is like mommy's nose, the eyes are like daddy's eyes. They need to come to terms with the fact that they're never going to have that baby who looks like them. They're never going to have that baby who sounds like the husband. So don't push adoption with somebody who is trying to have a baby. Now, let them know that you care. Send a card, check in on them. Find out how they're doing. Remember them on important days. Say a prayer. Everything that you do, the little things are the things that are the most important. And on Mother's Day, Father's Day, reach out to them. Just happy Mother's Day and say a prayer for them. It doesn't hurt to do that. Now, don't ask why they aren't trying IVF. You know what I find very annoying? People say that in the tone of voice that they would use to ask you, why don't you try this product for your pimples? That's the same way they ask you about IVF. Oh, why don't you go and try IVF? As if it's that easy to just try IVF. It takes a lot out of you. And I can say that categorically. It takes a lot financially, it takes a lot emotionally. Then there's the pain you go through when you're having the procedure. It's not an easy thing. So don't just push and say, oh, why don't you try IVF like this? Go and try this product and cure your pimple. We don't do that, please. And when they get to a point, when they make a decision to stop treatment, to stop trying, to stop doing anything, support that decision and respect it. Don't start pushing them to go further. They know what they've been through. They know what it has taken out of them. So when people get to the place where they're like, you know what, I don't want to try anymore. I don't want to have babies anymore. Just leave them and pray with them. Now, we are thankful that we ended up with a child, but the story didn't end like that. 2 years ago, we were going to have another baby. Oh, and first I will say that against what medicine said, that we'll never be able to have children naturally, that was actually a natural conception. But unfortunately, 2 weeks before she was due to be born, we lost her. And in the process, I found purpose, because one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing now was from a place of my own pain and my own grief. And I realized that we've had the weird privilege of knowing infertility, first as doctors, and then as patients. So we know it from both sides of the divide. And my husband actually has a postgraduate degree in assisted reproductive technology. So you know, classic case of, a classic case of being challenged in an area where you have so much knowledge, you know. But at the end of the day, we've come through it, and what we want to do is actually to just lend our voice, to lend our support to people who are still dealing with this scourge. Because one of the things I believe strongly in, when you've been through the fire and it didn't burn you, go back with truckloads of water to save those that are still consumed by the fire. And I want to leave you with this thought. I want to leave you with this thought this morning. What was once a beautiful dream suddenly becomes a project filled with demands. And that's how it is when you're trying to have a baby. It starts with, oh, it's something beautiful, trying to achieve a pregnancy. And then it starts to feel like hard work. You know, it feels like a project that is filled with demands, with commitments, expectations, and sometimes a compromised marriage. The gifts we have received along the way, which is our precious son, we continue to hold close. And for that we are very grateful that God was able to actually help and get us to enjoy that gift of parenthood. Thank you.